Hey you guys, it's Ani. Happy Friday. In today's video, I'm going to be talking about how to be that badass master manifester and just be unshakable. Unshakable, unbothered are the keywords, and literally what I teach my clients in our one-on-one sessions how to be. There will be this is life, right? There needs to be some contrast, right? So you will maybe experience things sometimes that look off, or it seems like it's not working in your favor, but really behind the scenes things are working in your favor. But what helps is the attitude of this unbothered, unshakable person. That helps a lot on your manifesting journey. It's not even just an attitude, it's actually an identity. Like, it's a self-concept at that point. When you know who you are and you know how powerful you are, especially in manifesting, when you know your actual birthright, a lot of people don't. A lot of people learn when they apply and they start seeing results, and then they start really reverse engineering and learning, and building up their self-concept. Then they know, like, damn, like, I was this powerful. Like, all this time I was that powerful, but I let my emotions kind of like conquer me and maybe even cripple me, or my circumstances cripple me. And I never was so aware that none of it matters, because it all still like turns out in my favor, right? So when you level up and be this like unbothered, unshakable version of yourself, honestly, manifestations start coming in so quick, just from personal experience. Like, even when I like, someone asked me recently if I can share more jackpot stories or like winning money stories, and I kind of stopped doing that because I didn't know if you guys wanted me to or not. But I'll give you an example right now when I say unbothered or unshakable. Okay, a lot of the times when I go, like, whether I play poker or when I'm playing like on the slot machines, and remember, this is not advice like, oh, go gamble so you win more money or you have more abundance. That's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about my personal experience. If you like to do that, you can manifest exactly what I'm talking about right now, but it doesn't have to be through that way only. Okay, so disclaimer. But for example, when I'm sitting at the poker table, so many people, there could be like a bunch of people at the table, and I've noticed so many people complain. Oh my God, the dealer never opens my cards. Oh my God, like, it's the same thing every time I come here. It's the same. Of course, dealer, you win me. Of course, you win. Of course, you have a better hand. Of course, of course, of course. And then they start cursing themselves, as if like, I knew it. I knew that was gonna happen. I knew I was gonna lose. Why did I come? Blah blah blah. And it's so obvious. Like, when you know how all of this works, you start observing people. And it's so obvious where their mindset is, and how in lack they are, their identity with what they're doing, which is either playing poker or gambling or at the casino. Or this literally can apply to anything. Okay, this can apply to them and their wife or their spouse, or them always getting cheated on, or whatever, right? Everyone has a lack mindset somewhere, right? I'm not intending that, but if you watch and observe people, you'll know what I mean. Actually, that's something I want you to do. Practice watching and observing people, and watch what they're affirming. Okay, so the reason I'm talking about this at all is because I really think that the reason I win so much is because I'm unbothered and unshaken by all that stuff. Because I taught myself not to be bothered by it. Before, when I didn't know this stuff, I would be so annoyed. I would literally probably leave the table or leave the whole casino. And I would be like, this person's bothering me. Like, they're complaining so much about them not winning that I start not to win. That's how it used to be. But now I'm so unbothered that they could all be complaining, and I literally could call the cards I want, and the dealer opens them, and everyone looks at me like, oh, are you a witch? oh, did you do some voodoo? Did you do some spell, some magic spell, right? And it's like, no, I just know that my thoughts are running the show here. And I know that if I'm shaken by you right now, it puts me in a parallel reality where my reality has to match what you're saying. But if I'm not shaken by you and I stay grounded within my mentality, I win. That's why I coach the way I coach, and that's why my courses are set up the way they're set up. I literally teach my clients in a way where you're going to win no matter who the hell's sitting next to you, no matter how much they're complaining, no matter what your circumstances is, you're going to be unbothered and unshaken. Unshaken. Not shaken. But yeah, so let me read this client's little feedback from one of our sessions. She came to me in a very bad situation. I'm not going to get into super details because I respect her privacy, but she came in a situation where she was really bad, and she was very emotional throughout the whole session. Sometimes she couldn't even explain exactly what she wanted to get out because she was crying, and it's always a safe space with me, so that's never a problem. But by the end of the session, she literally said that she had such a great night's sleep that night after our session. So let me read it to you. She says, "Hello, Ani was amazing as always. She grounded my nervous system with insightful questions that I was too afraid to ask myself, and we did EFT tapping that released so much built up anxiety and emotions that I thought I had been working through, and I slept so well that night. I'm definitely looking forward to my next session." So we all have so much built up stuff inside of us, and sometimes we're not aware of it. Okay. The way you'll know is how triggered you can be very quickly by someone saying something to you, or someone doing something, or we're very sensitive beings, right? A smell can trigger us. It can trigger a memory, a picture, a color, a flower, right? So we have all these emotions playing with us at all times. And this is why it's so important to discipline your mind and train your mind that all of this is very okay. Like, we are okay. It is safe to experience all this and observe all this. It is very safe, and we're still going to get what we want. It doesn't mean just because things trigger us, or just because we have days where it feels like circumstances are too much, or there's people around us that are negative, right? You can still be the most successful manifesting master that ever lived by understanding that you are in control. You are in control of your emotions. You are in control of your nervous system. But your whole life, you didn't know you are in control. Your whole life, you thought things just come and I react to them. Things just happen and I react. Like, it's not like I get to control it. No one really taught you that there's a programming here. Just like a computer, your brain, you are programmed in a way, right? From the things you saw when you're a child, the way you were taught, the atmosphere, the environment around you taught you a lot of things in your childhood, and then you just grew up thinking like that's just life. But no, it's a programming. You can always change it. And the way I want you to be unbothered and not shaken so easily is by really regulating yourself to a point where you feel something's off internally. In a recent video, I shared that your emotions are not your energy. It's actually like your thermometer. It's a measuring tool. But you have to be open to feeling and hearing it, right? So if you're too caught up with what's going on outside of you, you don't really catch it so you can nip it in the bud. You miss that time frame. And then what happens is maybe you get an anxiety attack, or you get so caught up in the emotion where now it feels like it's controlling you and you have no control whatsoever. That's where a lot of people find themselves, and that's the problem. If you can catch it at a point where you feel little off, and then you can question, hey, what's going on? What just triggered me? Is this from a past limiting belief that I just believe is on loop at this point? Yes. All right. It doesn't hold power over us. It's a past limiting belief. I don't need to give it power. I don't need to react to this right now. Understanding that if I don't give it power and if I don't react to it the same way I've been reacting to it all these years, now I become in my unbothered identity. Now what happens is my manifestations come in faster because I'm not allowing resistance play a part anymore. I am not allowing that resistance to play a part in my reality. It doesn't have a part in this movie. A lot of people allow the resistance in and they live with the resistance. They live with the limiting beliefs as if it's their identity. It's not. Your fears are not your identity. Your lack mindset is not your identity. But a lot of people adopt it as so. A lot of people, it feels so comfortable that they live with it, even though it's uncomfortable. But even misery sometimes feels comfortable if you're used to that emotion more over other emotions, right? So whatever emotional place you are for a long time, that's what's going to feel comfortable. So a lot of people are like, I want to be happy. I want to be unbothered. I want to feel confident. But if that's not something that you play with a lot, like if it's not that familiar to you and maybe sadness is more familiar to you or not being chosen is more familiar to you, guess what's going to try to creep in? And when it tries to creep in, not to hurt you, but to keep you in your comfort zone. That's just how it is. You programmed it that way. It's going to want to stay that way until you come in and repetitively program yourself that that's not okay. We're not a victim. We're not helpless. And we are chosen. So we're going to start acting like we're chosen. We're going to start giving our brain examples of how we're chosen. And the more you do it on repeat, the more your brain starts saying, okay, this is our new identity now. I'm going to push out more of what matches this. That's how it works. So when in doubt, literally say, I'm the unbothered, unshaken version of myself. And this version of me gets what she wants or he wants. This version of me doesn't care about outside opinions because outside opinions don't run my show. I run my show. Even if you thought outside opinions run your show, what really runs the show is your acceptance of outside opinions. You making outside opinion trump yours. That's why it runs the show, right? If you're like, oh my God, well, I want to think that way, but it never works out, and the other person always wins, right? Well, it's because of how you're viewing the situation. You have the final say. If you think everyone else wins but you all the time, guess what has to happen? Because you said so, that has to play out because that is your belief and it must play out. You always have the final say. Okay. I hope this video helped. If it did, let me know, boo. Let me know, boo-boos. Let me know. I love you guys. I will see you in next Friday's video. If you relate to this and it connects with you and it resonates with you, let me know. I love you guys. Take up my challenge. Be unbothered and unshaken this weekend. I'll see you.